Hello there, namaste. So I just finished the movie Border, and I gotta say, I'm glad this was recommended to me. I have a watch-along coming out for it really soon. But this movie, absolutely amazing. I don't think I was expecting much going into it, because I looked at the date and I'm like, okay, it's not that old, but it is an older film. It's a war movie. Those can drag out. It is amazingly well done. So it starts off with everyone basically going to the border. They're dispatched to the border, and at the border, the lieutenant is basically can't shoot someone. It is refusing to take another person's life, even though it's either you take their life or they take your life. And it's phenomenal, because I had so many things that I was saying about it while it's going on. Like, there's a character who's completely whining about every aspect, trying to get his leave of absence, trying to abandon his brothers in arms, which was aggravating me. It was disgusting to hear. And they address that in the movie. They address that, and every action that's taken is just like spot on. Everything that's done is amazing, because this movie isn't so much about the battle that's fought at the very end. Like the last 40 minutes are the climactic action sequence. It's not really about that. I found this movie was about being a soldier in the sacrifices that end up being made. Because at the beginning, it starts off with the captain who's being dispatched. The wife, it got me angry, because the wife tried to get him sent somewhere safely. And in my mind, I'm like, that is the worst thing. If the soldier's heart isn't with him, then it's going to make him second guess everything and pull into question a lot of actions, which happened to be a running theme, because one of the characters, his mother didn't want him to leave, and that stayed with him throughout. It was very powerfully done, because his wife came around. Of course, the captain's wife came around and was like, I'm sorry, it was a weak moment for me. And I like that. I was like, yeah, she realized it. But the movie is so powerful, because it touches on aspects that really aren't touched on in military films. Military films normally talk about one battle and then show the sequences that happened. This takes place like it's a true battle, but it's fictional characters. You know, they fictionalize it to make it interesting, make it story based, and it's sad, because you're watching it and it's just like, well, the end is sad, because there are funny moments. There are moments where I'm bursting out laughing because it was so funny. I felt like I would do that in that situation, because after you find out that the lieutenant wouldn't fire his gun to, you know, save his own life, we get a flashback with him and the woman he adores, the woman who adores him. He was about to get married when he got dispatched out. In that whole sequence, I was worried. I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. We're going to throw in a romance. Halfway, sandwich it in between the movie. It's like, it's okay. It'll be fine. But no, it was only like 20 minutes. And it was an amazing 20 minutes, because it was heartfelt. It was funny. The characters were amazing, because I would see myself doing that, because the character's mother is blind. And she's basically saying, oh, I'm going to get you engaged to her. I'm going to do this. And then he starts saying, while the girl he likes is still there, oh, I don't like her. I never want to marry her. And then she starts throwing stuff at him. And it was funny. It was humorous. It was heartfelt. There's a scene where she's basically giving him away. And it hit me to the core with what she was saying. She was talking about how someone was trying to get rid of their shadow, always trying to run away from it when she was a kid. And immediately, I knew exactly what she was talking about. It was just like, oh, that hurts. It hurts. And then we get another flashback with another character. And these are the second one was kind of, I feel a little much, but it was quick. And then what happened afterwards? It was about receiving notes, how each soldier felt. Some would cry, some would smile, and then the one I didn't like was all happy that he got his leave of absence and started showing it off to everyone and got me incredibly angry. But every single soldier felt something differently. Some soldiers had some sad news, some soldiers had some happy news, some soldiers, it was variously different. And you don't see that in most military films. They don't address the male. They don't, unless you're talking about Saving Private Ryan, where all it is about sending one message to the last Ryan and letting him know that he's returning home. Oh, but yeah, this film really did touch on all that. A cook the importance of a cook in an army. I don't think I've ever seen that in a military film before. I could be wrong, but I've never really acknowledged that. I mean, the only one is like Men of Honor, where he basically starts off as a cook in the Navy until he becomes a diver. But other than that, they don't really acknowledge it as an importance. Because right here, one of the soldiers has like a brotherly bond. Like it was one of the most emotional scenes at the end. That bond, it just hurt. It absolutely hurt. But yeah, this movie was absolutely powerful. The characters that don't make it to the end, the characters that do, I mean, everything is kind of like, they even had this heartwarming thing where the captain of the forces on the ground was basically talking to his counterpart in the Air Force, and they were just having a humorous banter about which one's more superior, the Air Force or the ground forces. Like, it felt wholesome. I liked it. I absolutely liked it. And then at the very end, it's just like, the Air Force captain who's basically stressed out because he can't do anything in the moment to help his counterpart on the ground. I gotta say, it's nice to see a film that feels so grounded. It is absolutely grounded in more of reality, because it felt like what it would be like to be boots on the ground with soldiers. It absolutely did. Not just the action pack, we're going to fly in, start shooting, and then we fly out. No, it was the boots on the ground action. The day in and day out. Because it felt slow, but it didn't feel slow. There were little things here and there. Like there was a few spies that they got rid of. But that was it. It wasn't a big deal. It was just to lead into the other part where the guy their lieutenant refused to shoot. That whole film just absolutely resonated with me, because I was feeling, like I said, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it. I really didn't. But it turns out to be everything I wanted. Everything I wanted, except for the CGI. It's really ridiculous, because anyone who knows about piloting and things like that, especially in like the Air Force, you are not going to fly literally on the ground to shoot a tank. No. It's done for the air. And they CGI it like a tank that explodes. And then they start introducing CGI, and it just changes the visuals entirely. It makes it a little ridiculous. And then a plane flies right through the flame. And it's just like, no. And that was in the trailer, I believe. But it was just like, no, you were doing so good with practical effects. Don't do practical effects, which are realistic because they are realistic. Maybe CGI the practical effects a bit, but that's it. And then they go full CGI with a plane that's flying basically on the ground. If it would have put down its wheels, it would have been on the ground. It would have been driving. So it was just like that, felt like a little bit of whiplash. But I liked the way the characters were written. They were so wholesome. The arguments about each other. The fact that everyone needed to get along like a brother. And because that's the thing. Like, one thing I kept saying is like you have to be able to trust the person to have your back. When the lieutenant refused to fire because he just didn't want to, he felt like he was strong-armed into the army, he lost the trust of everyone. Absolutely everyone. Because who's going to trust this guy who refuses to pull a trigger on the enemy to have their back? Who's going to trust him? And it's like there are so many things that are absolutely true. All these things really matter on the battlefield. You have to be able to trust the person that stands next to you, because your life is in their hands. Their life is in your hands. You have to be able to get along with each other. You have to be able to resonate. You have to be able to understand each other. You can't carry the weight from home. You can't have those who are stressed to let you go, because that lingers on you the entire time. And the fact that they reference that with the guy whose mother, who just didn't want to let him go, that kept coming back to haunt him over and over and over again. It wasn't the love interest who allowed him to leave because she knew he could never get rid of her. It was the mother who was on his mind because she didn't accept it. Oh, yeah, this movie, absolutely powerful. I can't praise it enough. It was mind-blowing, because it's just like, the cook-up is important. The letters, the simple mail is important. There's a whole music montage where the soldiers are singing of the mail, and it just felt like it fit. Like, I was thinking, because Most war films, you put a dance sequence in there, you'd say it's ridiculous. But the tone was so slow, absolutely slow. But the thing is, you feel as the tone is going so slow and it feels so wholesome because they're dancing and singing about mail. You know, the second that song ends, everything was about to happen. And it kind of did. A few minutes after, that's when they realized that they were under attack. That's when they realized that they had to evacuate the neighbors. Because that's the thing. It's like they introduced the fact that there are people on the ground who live in that area who are just going to be casualties because they just happen to live there. And they had no clue. They don't have interest in either situation. They're just stuck there. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And I love this movie. Yeah, I need to stop here before I keep rambling on. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Doodles.